Hey guys, it has been a while since we spoke. We're not gonna count it, but in case you are, it has been 5 years. The last time we spoke, I lived in the UK and I only had 2 children. Now I've had 3 children and I live in the US. I am gonna try and style my hair with this new curl routine by Garnier, and it's probably gonna take a minute, so we have nothing but time to talk. Don't judge. Let's get into it. We went to the beach yesterday and I have really been trying to get out and enjoy the way my afro hair is when I'm being active, because you know sometimes we don't dip our hair underneath the water or we don't go swimming. Well, when I go to the beach now, I want to swim, I want to dive in, I want to enjoy, and this is just what happens when you get home and you're beach tired. So today I am dealing with the consequences of going to bed with my hair towel dry. These are the 3 products I will be using, as well as some water, and already I can smell them through this and it smells amazing. My hair feels so dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and section it out first as well. Hopefully my fingers can get through this without too much breakage. 5 years ago my boys were about 1 and 2, and we actually still lived in our old house all the way in Alconbury, which is crazy because I'm looking at that blue sofa and it just brings back so many memories. And this was right before COVID, before we moved one more time. So we moved again to Peterborough. It was COVID time, and right before we were gonna move to America, this was only 2 weeks, they told us, you guys are going to America and you need to choose a state. I didn't actually decide the state, my husband decided the states. Because if I had to choose, God knows where I would have chose, okay? Maybe Hawaii. Because I grew up in the Caribbean, I lived there for 12 years. He said, okay, it's hot, there's a lot of Caribbean there, and she'll still have the beaches, and this is why he chose Florida for us. Now we live in Tampa, and it definitely feels like the Caribbean. And guys, when I tell you, the UK was so strict during COVID, and when we moved to the US, the way people here were looking at us crazy. The boys had like the whole mask on their face and everything. And when we came here, no one had a mask on. Like one point, this old lady even said to us, why are you wearing those masks? It's all fake. It's all fake. It was pretty hard when we were here. We barely had any support system here. We lived like on the outskirts in Riverview. And that was hard in itself because there wasn't much to do out there either. Was the grass greener? Was it worth it even choosing this state? Like, why did we even come here? And that played a toll mentally, especially when you start to let that negativity build up as well. This is why I always talk about speaking positively, because out of your mouth is life and death, and you can literally decide how your life is going to turn out by the way you speak about yourself and your life. Unfortunately, those negative thoughts did get a hold of us, and when the opportunity presented itself for us to move back to the UK, immediately took it. When we came back to England, it was nice. I immediately went back to work. 5 years of being a stay-at-home mom, I returned to tech through a return program for women called Code First Girls. It was really nice. If you're looking to get into tech and you're a woman or you're a mom at the moment and you don't know what you are going to do with yourself in the UK, I would definitely look into Code First Girls. I started my tech job literally 2 days after we landed in the US. I was jet lag exhausted with 2 children living in temporary accommodation, and I said, boom, I'm gonna go to this interview. Smashed the interview, actually ended up being one of the top interviewees for my whole cohort, which was brilliant. Sometimes being a stay-at-home mom, society has you believe that, oh yeah, you're just a stay-at-home mom, but really you're so much more than that. You're actually the backbone to the entire family. But those societal thoughts got into my head and they really made me question my worth. So now I was back at work, I felt like I was really contributing or doing something in life, shall I say? Because you know, you don't really want to give up yourself too much, which is why I keep busy when I'm a stay-at-home mom. I had a job, the boys were in school, and we moved around the UK a few times. So we moved from Cambridgeshire to Northamptonshire, working from home. So I had more like a hybrid role, and my husband was commuting to work. And then I started to question, like, did we give the US a fair shot? And I just couldn't go on with life knowing that, hey, we left the US too quickly. 9 months postpartum when we moved to the USA. So imagine all that rush and thought, all those hormones really taking control of your brain, having no friends, completely in a new country. I actually didn't give it a fair shot. shot. We spoke about it together and we said, okay, well, if an opportunity comes up again, we will move back. A few months passed, I was working in London. I had this amazing job. I started off as a software designer and then I became a cloud engineer. And those were some brilliant months. Honestly, I was at the company for about 3 years. In the end, I ended up swapping to project management. I was a project coordinator when I was in Tampa, so I really enjoyed that. And as much as I love cloud, but for me, I would say I'm more of an organizational person. And as soon as I made that swap, guys, okay, boom, what popped up? The opportunity to move to America. So the process actually takes a while and you don't actually find out that you're leaving until it's time to go. So you could get it, you could not get it. There's no point really preparing, because if you don't get it, then you've packed up everything. My body clock started to go off. When I say body clock, again, this is all things that I had planned in my head from when I was a really young girl. All things that I changed as my life went on. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna give life a break because I've had these boys back to back. So when I turned 30, I said I wanted a child at this point, okay? I wanted another child. And plus I also researched that if you're older, you're more likely to have a girl. The baby fever was kicking in hard, but not any baby fever, okay? I'm gonna say this with my chest. I had to have a girl. And if you've been following me on like my other social medias or my stories, you will know that I was very, very determined to have a girl. So much so, I was searching family balancing in Cyprus. I was willing to fly out there and pay the money, and no one here can judge. Save that for judgment day, okay? And I said, you know what? I have a lot of faith. Let me just tell you guys, I'm a Leo. I have a lot of faith in myself. I believe that the family balancing that they're gonna do, I can biohack it. Me. Yeah, so I did a lot of research. It took me about 6 to 9 months to really get that data. I can actually do that whole how to conceive a girl in a completely other video for you guys. But for now, let's just say I biohacked my body to have this girl that I have right now. My hair is freshly detangled and luckily there wasn't too much hair loss. A little hair update, my edges are slightly gone. They were so bad because I tried this wig and oh my god guys, I'm not the best at wigs. And when I tell you, I should have never done it postpartum because the way it snatched my edges away, I was crying for help. But luckily I've been using this Korean edge loss serum. This is the Garnier Fructis air dry cream. It's dry. Provides a decent amount of slip. I'm really enjoying this smell. Reminds me of my childhood. It's just so familiar. What's in here? Oh, it's the coconut. This is what it looks like dry. And boom, we get the call. We got the job to the US. A few weeks, shall I say, maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, boom, we find out we're pregnant. And at this point, I'm already panicking because I was like, did my biohacking work? I'm still at work. Luckily, we have a great work-life balance. No, life-work balance, especially with me working hybrid. I believe that for like couples to have a great family balance, especially being able to pour into the kids, either you both work remote or one of you works in the office and one of you works remote, or you have some kind of hybrid situation, especially when you have no village, because there's so much things that needs to be done. The wet one, it doesn't feel like it makes much difference, but it does have a little bit more slip. Dry, wet. Things were a bit easier. Now I'm stressing about, have I actually biohacked correctly? Am I gonna have another boy? Which I wouldn't mind, okay, because I want quite a few children, but I wanted my next child to be a girl. After all my research papers, I'm fully convinced. First of all, I don't have hypermesis gravidarum. That was my first signal. Hey, maybe I'm a little biohacker. Now I can't focus on that too much because you know the move is going fast. Like I said with the first move, they come in quick. Luckily this time we had a bit more notice. We extended it until the boys finished school. We actually left on the last day, well, a day after the last day. That is when we went to the US. So with these big international moves, you get put in contact with a move handler and she's gonna put us in contact with the movers and she's just gonna be basically our project manager for our entire move. So every move has a project manager and that's so funny because I actually used to do that job when I lived here in Tampa. For the most part, you have like the whole back end and the financial and all that stuff. They handle all that hard work, the insurance and all that stuff. All I had to do was make sure that when the movers were there, I was home. The move is going on, the boys are in school. I now have to tell my work that I'm leaving, but I now also have to tell them I'm pregnant. I was absolutely gutted, okay? I tried to move my job from the UK to the US because at the time, my company also had a US branch. I lost my maternity pay. Okay, we're gonna move on for that because that's so sad. I'm already to talk about that. I'm gonna twist it using this. This is where we are at the moment. I went in with the cream first, then the mousse, and then finally the gel to hold everything together. I'm not going for any real kind of separation, so please ignore the part. A few weeks go by, and at this point I'm 9 weeks pregnant, and in my head I'm just thinking, if I could just confirm that this is a baby girl. Now I'm looking into gender blood tests. So I go off on my own, I do the blood test, and I find out, oh my god, yes, I'm having a girl. I just couldn't stop laughing, I was cackling. Not just because I was having a girl, I was right. And to everyone who said, you're not gonna have a girl, you don't need a girl, what did I do? That's probably just the Leo in me talking. The whole idea of just believing in myself when nobody else did, that is what really just made me just want to laugh. Like, I just laughed joy. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, wait, my hair looks so good, especially after I added the mousse on. I don't know if I've ever actually seen my curls pop like this. I don't want to do them too big, and you see that extra, I'm just taking that off and then putting it really into the root to see if it really gets a hold of the curls deeper down. Really hope I'm not putting too much product as well. Don't send for me, I'm learning. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You know what one of the hardest parts about moving between the US and the UK is? Yes, we may not have an immediate village all the time around us, but we do end up building a village, and most of the time it's right before we leave that we find the absolute best and nicest people. Like having to swap in between the countries and then losing the friends, because not all friendships last distance. I probably only keep, every time we move, 1 to 2 friends. Then it's just like acquaintances from that point. Doors close, new doors open. Hopefully I find some new ones here in Tampa. Things are packed up, we're living in temporary accommodation. We've told everyone, we've basically said goodbye to everybody, we're saying goodbye to people. Now we've left the UK, we've moved to the US, we're still in temporary accommodation. I'm pregnant, don't have any appointments really yet to go to, but we don't have any school for the boys. We don't even know where they're gonna go to school. We don't have a house, and we need to find that as well. And now we're house hunting, and we're looking for schools for the boys, and we can't really school hunt until we have a house, because they need that for the system. But we have an idea of where we want to live. Living in the countryside last time, I don't know if Riverview is the countryside, but for me it's very far away from the city. I like being close to stuff, even though I came from the countryside, but the UK travel system is elite. So within 30 minutes, I'll be on the bullet train and I'm in London. Over here, if I want to get somewhere, I need to at least drive 1 hour, and yeah, I'm just not feeling the driving. 1 hour to get anywhere, it's just not ideal, and that's not even with traffic. Now, mind you, my husband's also gone back to work, yeah? So not we're house hunting, Kira is house hunting, pregnant with the children. That's one of the things that I don't really talk about. Living this whole lifestyle, most of the time, the transition, it weighs heavily on the spouse, which can be, again, a little bit exhausting as well. But, you know, it's nothing I can't handle. I love a challenge. Always the Lulu, and always with the strength of God. I know for sure if I ask for patience, and if everything else fails, consistency. Consistency has always carried me when motivation hasn't. We found a house. We moved in. We had nothing, no furniture, because our furniture hadn't arrived. And this was around July, August time. I'm sleeping on the floor, pregnant. Actually, not on the floor. I'm sleeping on the mattress. Very messy, but hey, it's like good sensory play. Get those edges, even though they're not gonna curl, but hey, let's get them anyways. Navigating the schools here is absolutely insane. You have magnet schools, choice schools, public schools, which I think public schools cover quite a few of them, charter schools, and private schools. I believe you also have homeschool. Am I missing any schools? Probably. We missed quite a few of the application periods, example for like choice and magnet and charter, I believe as well, and a few of the grants as well, like if you want to apply to like private school, etc. We did end up getting them to a school. I would say for sure moving the children over here, and I can probably make this into a whole other video. The UK is a bit more advanced. The boys know stuff and they're just performing like grades above. For sure, if you're thinking of moving your children over here, you have to find a school that will really challenge them, or put them into some kind of tutoring or after school activities. My gender scan is coming up. When I tell you, I told this woman no jokes. Let's not play around. Let's walk in here. Let's confirm what I already know. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? And she goes, bloop. There's the bits. Luckily, it wasn't too hard to tell. Like, it was evidently clear, and I was like, let me go check on baby girl. I'll finish these 2 and then I'll come back once this is dry. Managed to get the final 2 done at the top. Overall, I'd say, yeah, the move to the US was pretty crazy. Coming back here, was the grass greener? I won't be able to answer that for you right now. Emotionally, physically, and spiritually, I have been challenged. I might actually be able to enjoy Tampa this time. It's not gonna be COVID days. People are outside. The city has developed quite a bit, and I'm actively gonna try to make some friends here. I have to give it a real go before I decide, okay, America is completely off the table for me. I mean, I'm British, my husband's American, I have to give his country a fair try, and yeah, who knows. But yeah, we had the baby, we have the house, the boys are in school, I'm currently a stay-at-home mom, and my husband's back at work. I think there's a lot I can do here. What do you guys think? I definitely think I should have made them smaller because they might not dry today, and in case they don't, I could have at least worn them out. It's also been an hour since I started, and these were some of the first ones that I've done, and they do seem to be drying pretty quickly. Now, it's not giving that crinkly gel feeling. If you know, like when gel starts to dry, it starts to go like a bag of chips. No, it's not doing that at all. It still has this softness to it, but a slight hold, which I can appreciate. It has now been 10 hours since I first started doing my hair. This is the first one that I did, and you can see, well, I can tell, you might not be able to see it. Up to about hair is pretty much dry, and from hair upwards, it's a little bit more wet where my root is. It is feeling pretty good. I'll see you tomorrow. It's the next morning, almost 20 hours later, and these are fully dry. The sleeping was not bad at all. The smell wasn't overpowering, and I'm a sensory person, like I said before. Usually if the smell of the products is so strong, I'll end up washing my hair out, but I didn't have that this time, and I'm so excited. So let's get into it and twist these. Mini twist or medium twist. We're halfway twisted out, and a few things to note is that please do them all the same size. I was doing them any which way, finger parting, which you can still do, but just make sure they're still the same size, because some of the bigger ones were still wet, whereas the smaller ones were dried. And you can definitely see a lot more definition and curl in those. This is a bigger one right here, and it's still very wet, but I've already started. When it comes to styling, I think this is as far as it's gonna go for this hairstyle. A few of the twists in the middle were wet, which means they did not take properly. However, the ones that were fully dry basically turned out perfect. I don't know, I might be a little bit biased because it was my hand doing it, but I'm definitely gonna give these twists using the Garnier products a second shot. But if you plan on doing these twists or any form of twist out yourself, here are 3 things that I learned that you're gonna wanna do. First, you're gonna wanna make sure that all your twists are the same size. Small, medium, large, it doesn't matter. Pick a size and stick to it. Second, you're gonna make sure that you have clean parts. If you have children to run behind like I do, or you need to go do things outside, make sure that all your parts are clean and looking good so that you're not worrying about your hair and whether it looks presentable like I was. Next, if you do the first 2 correctly, the third one should come pretty easy. Your hair is gonna dry more even, and you're gonna be able to keep them in for longer because you're not worried about anything else. And doing those 3 things, your hair will definitely turn out perfectly, whether this is your first time doing a twist out or your 3rd time doing a twist out. Wow, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for staying and talking through the past few years with me while I did my hair. I don't know about you, but the last 5 years for me, it definitely felt like a blink. So if there's anything else that you'd like to know or see, please feel free to comment it down below. And remember to follow me on my other social media platforms for more regular content. But that is it. I missed this, and I guess I'm back now, so I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye.